and welcome back to AI Home Labs. Today we're diving into two really interesting thinking models outside of OpenAI that have been generating quite a lot of buzz lately. That's DeepSeek R1-light and QwQ Qwen that boasts 32 billion parameters. Those two models use COT, so chain of thought techniques, to generate superior outputs. By working with more tokens, so test time compute, they deliver better results. But first, we're going to start with questions with Qwen, because I think this one is the more interesting model because it's Apache 2.0 licensed. So it's fully open, which is great, and thank you so much to Qwen for that. Despite being a preview version, it stands out remarkably. It even outperformed its bigger sibling, that's Qwen 2.572b. And I tested Qwen 2.572b in FP16, but I tested QwQ in Q4KM in QwF. So considering its difference in the size, that's quite astonishing. Now I want to run you through the advantages of QwQ, and the first one is accessibility. Now the Q4 format version runs with only about 16 gigabytes of VRAM, although 24 is probably recommended because you really want to have some headroom for a comfortable context window. Now another advantage is efficiency. It's a smaller model, so it runs quite fast. So tokens per second wise, it's really fast. And it's still maintaining the quality of Sonnet 3.5. Now I'm speaking of the version from September, so not the newest one. But still, that's insane that we get that quality in a 32 billion parameters LLM. Performance-wise, it excels in logic reasoning and math, so it's really effective in problem-solving scenarios. Now I want to discuss the disadvantages. When it comes to compute time, it's not really faster than, say, Qwen 72b, because it generates a lot of tokens to get to a result. So you have a faster model, but it generates more tokens to get to the result. So that is why it's not really faster, but it's still like a huge win because it's a small size, so a lot of people can and will be able to run it on their local machine, which is great. But what I also found is that coding performance or coding proficiency is not really up at the top. It's good, but it's not better than Qwen 72b. It's better in logics, that's no question, but it's not better in coding. It's around at the same level, but I would say probably 72b still has the edge. So yeah, I'm still waiting for a thinking model that is better in coding. O1 certainly is, but in the open source domain, well, we are waiting for that. But I mean, this is a preview, so it could change as well. Now I want to show you the next model. That's DeepSeek R1-light. Normally DeepSeek really shines because they got great models, but this one I have to say was quite underwhelming. It didn't perform as I thought it would. One problem was the request handling. It did deny my requests many times, and it just simply said, I cannot perform these tasks. These are too difficult. And these weren't tasks that were against its own guidelines. It was just, I was giving it difficult tasks, difficult logic riddles, and sometimes it denied those. And sometimes it denied coding challenges. So that was underwhelming. And also in the logic and reasoning department, it didn't perform as I thought it would. It had problems with basic knowledge and basic principles of physics. For instance, it once wanted to use a rope to get a backpack over a bridge, but it didn't tighten the rope onto the backpack. So how should it work? So it really has problems with logics. And if I explained it, or if I explained to it why that won't work, it just redid the same mistake. So that's also something I saw again and again in the coding department. It wasn't able to correct itself, which O1 excels in, and QwQ also could do to a certain degree, but R1 really can't, like at all. So that was not as great as I thought it would be. Now I want to sum up how each of these models performed in different domains. And I will just show you the strongest three in each domain. And we're going to start with logic. In logic, QwQ and OpenAI were on first place and were the strong winners. These tackled even difficult logic problems with strong reasoning capabilities. They effectively tackled really hard problems and provided coherent and step-by-step solutions. And this is something you can also really see with QwQ. It can think step by step and develop a good solution, at least in logic problems and in math and physics problems. Now, second place goes to Qwen 2.572b, which also showed remarkable capabilities in logic tasks. And the first place, sorry, and the third place goes to Sonnet 3.5. That's the version from September, which also provided really good reasoning capabilities. Unfortunately, DeepSeek R1-light struggled with logical reasoning, which is a pity because I thought this would be a stronghold for R1-light, but it was often failing to give or to provide logical solutions. So if you're looking for strong logical reasoning capabilities, QwQ and O1 are your best bets. Next up, we got code and machine learning. Now the first two places are pretty clear. That's O1 on the first place and Sonnet 3.5, that's the September version, on the second place. Then we have some distance, and the third place goes to QwQ. But what's really remarkable is the distance to R1. Now R1 didn't really solve a lot of questions here. It really underperformed. Now for math, I have to say I need to create more math questions and I need to create harder ones because all these models solved the classical math puzzle easily. That's the one with 5.11 and 5.9. Which one of those is greater? And that's just no challenge for these models today. For physics, it's the same chapter. All models solved all questions without any problem. And I have to say these models are really good in physics today, but I need to create more difficult questions here. So there will be something for the next video. Now for web development, we again have a clear winner with O1. On the second place, we got Sonnet 3.5, followed on the third place with R1-light DeepSeek. So here it was kind of okay. And it's followed by QwQ, the preview version, which also did kind of fine. But I have to say O1 really outperforms all of these. Coding 3D wireframe games still is not in reach for these models, which you can clearly see here. Now, if we have a look at the overview, we can also see that O1 Preview is the clear winner, followed by QwQ Preview, which also did great, and then with just a slight difference. On the third place, we got Sonnet 3.5, that's the September version, and also with a really small difference, we got Qwen 2.572b in FP16. Now, R1-light really didn't perform great, which we can also see here, and it got on the fifth place. Now it's conclusion time, and I have to say I really liked testing QwQ. I really like that we in the open source space now have thinking models. And it clearly shows that OpenAI hasn't got that big of a moat as they thought they had. Because QwQ is a really impressive model. It's not yet on the level of O1 in coding, but I mean, this is a preview and it didn't take them a long time to get to this level. So I'm really hyped for that one. And I hope that once they are out of preview and QwQ is fully released, that they will have sorted out the problems with coding and we will have a 32 billion parameters O1 model, because I really think it's obtainable, and that's kind of amazing. And it just makes these really good models more accessible for everyone, because a 32 billion model is accessible. You don't need an insane hardware for that. I mean, I love insane hardware, don't get me wrong, but if we in the open source community have smaller models that are really capable, that's a win for us. And that's something we should all celebrate. Thank you for joining me on this ride through all these new emerging thinking models. I think it's an exciting time, and if you liked that video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share, because this really helps us getting the algorithm on the right path. Thank you so much, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Have a nice one. Bye.
With every step we guide, no budget is too small. Building futures from our homes, we answer the call. Trading cutting edge.